Hey gamers, hey Guild Wars 2 fans, thank you for tuning in to another video. This will be the beginner series, part 4. Hope you have been enjoying them thus far. The point of these videos are not to go into a deep level of explanation and teachings on things because that would just take too long, and given the overview of things will just hopefully help answer some questions right offhand so that you can enjoy the game and learn as you go. So this is part 4. I've taken some notes of what we can cover in this series. I hope that you've been leveling, got your questions answered. Some of the things that I may say might be a repeat of the other videos. If so, hopefully that'll be a good iteration. I know a couple of these things I will be going into a little more depth, I think, than what I did in the other videos. Without further ado, let's go to my notes here. So I'm going to cover the basics of crafting, how to stay interested, because at some point you will become level 80 and some people just quit after that. They're like, well, what do I do now? Or maybe they've played for a year and they've done a bunch of things and they just don't know what to do now. And achievement points, what are those about and why would you even care about them? Rewards and goals. There are tons of rewards and goals in there, and that kind of ties into achievement points, although doing map completion, doing certain things in game will get you certain currencies to buy things, to buy skins, to buy armor, to buy weapons. Making money, that won't go too far into depth. There are lots of ways to make money. I have a couple of ways on my YouTube channel that you're on right now. And down here, I got a bunch of YouTubers that are my personal favorites. Most people know these other YouTubers, but I will put them on the list here. One of them is talks about making money, and that's Sam. He likes to talk about that, about on flipping the trading posts and such. Getting bigger bags. You have either at this point gotten bigger bags, or you need bigger bags now. Go over that a little bit about that. I'll probably go over a couple of gem store recommendations, although I do have a gem store video already. We'll talk a little bit more about builds, about what kind of gear that you would want to have. There's a difference between builds that give you stuff like what's considered condition damage, stuff like vulnerability, bleeding, that sort of thing, versus just physical damage, like if you just hacked somebody with a sword versus poisoned them. Poison somebody would be condition damage. Hacking them with a sword would be physical damage. And we didn't talk about runes and sigils very much, if at all. So let's go into the simpler one, getting bigger bags. So at this point, with a new character, I've already maxed out my bag, so I don't have a good screenshot to show you. So we have these bags. I have maxed out my bags. I bought more bag slots from the gem store. Oops, we want to stay up there. And a bag slot is 400 right now, so they'll go on sale. If you have a main character that you use for a long time, it might make sense to buy those. And then the maximum bag size we can get are 20 slot bags. How do you get those things? Well, you can buy them from a trading post for one. We go down here, go to inventory bags. We'll sort by price just so you can see the most expensive one. So as you can see, 20 gold. That is a lot of gold for somebody just starting out. If we go down here and we find maybe what the best buy for the money is, okay, so we got 8 slot bags. Those are cheap as dirt. If you want to move up to a 10 slot bag, it jumps up a good price. My recommendation is to probably buy the cheapest one that you can afford, or about the decent ones that you can afford, and then go for the 18 slot bags. And the cheapest 18 slot bag is Mithril Box. Now some of these, oops, I didn't mean to hit my Windows key. Bags, wiki, inventory bags. Instead of me yabbing about it, trying to think of what they are. Let's look. So, okay, what I'm looking for are the types of bags, because some of them do certain things. All right, here we go. Maybe. Well, another way that you can get bags, are crafting them. And here is how you can craft them. You become a armor smith and you put those materials into the discovery tab, and voila, you have crafted a bag. And 18 slot leather bags will be your cheapest ones probably. There are several different types of bags. Some of them will sort your inventory, some of them will not. Let's click on this bag. Actually, what I was looking for, I think you can just hover over it. The items in this box will never appear in a sell to vendor list and will not move when inventory is sorted. So some people don't care about that kind of stuff. Like these are Halloween pails. And just look up on the wiki on how to get those. They are not the cheapest way to go right now, I'm quite certain. But around Halloween time, this is the way to get them. You take candy corn and you turn it into these bags, and they're the cheapest ways to get bags. Right now, your cheapest 20 slot bag, of the last time I looked, which wasn't too long ago, are to craft these 20 slot gossamer bags. That'd be a 10 and a half gold or something if you craft them, if you get to that point. The cheapest to buy are the best buy probably are these. These have actually went up a little bit in price, but leather prices are kind of sky high. So we have an 18 slot mithril box. As far as I can tell, that doesn't do anything special. So that's probably the cheapest, what it is, the cheapest 18 slot that you can buy. So we might start with those. Or just buy 15 slot. Junk items will fill this pack before any other empty spaces. What you don't want to do is buy a bunch of invisible bags because it becomes cumbersome when you try to sort and when you try to sell stuff to the vendor. And what it's talking about there is when you bring up a vendor, when you go to a vendor, I can call a vendor with that thing. But when you bring up a vendor and you go to sell, if you have stuff in the invisible bag, they will not appear on there. And I don't have any invisible bags on this guy, so I can't show you that. But certain things you sell to the merchant, like these minor runes, they're just worthless. These I usually you can sell to the vendor or sell on the trading post. Let's do an example of comparing and figuring out whether if we should sell this medallion to the vendor or to the trading post. Right there it is. Let's right click on it, go to sell on trading post. And if we sell on a trading post, we'll get 2 silver, 43 copper. So I will not sell it to the merch. We'll sell it on the trading post. As a reminder, whenever you sell something, always put it on this right side. And if you look, there's 2 silver, 42 copper, 2 silver, and 43 copper. So there's not much difference. There's 1 copper difference. So in this case, I might recommend that you go ahead and put it over here. But just make it a habit to always put it over here, unless you have a certain circumstance. Same way with these. I'm ready to sell those. See, there's a bigger difference. Do I want to get 35 silver or do I want to get 42 silver? I want to get 42 silver. As a note that I haven't covered yet, you do get taxed for selling things. You get charged a listing fee and an exchange fee. All together, that's 15%. So you subtract 15% from what you sell it from, and that's your actual money that you get. It's just there, and that's what it is. If you buy something, you don't pay tax, though. We'll list those two, and I need to list that again because it does that sometimes, and I didn't really care why. Let's do the same thing with that. We'll list those. That was a big difference. Don't be afraid about if people's going to buy your item. People will buy it in almost all situations. If you do something silly like this, says a crack longbow. It's not worth anything. It's white. It's the worst gear in the game. I could sell an instrument for 3 copper, but I would just salvage it. We didn't go into depth on salvaging. I talked a little bit about it, but maybe we'll get back to that. And so that is that. Here's another medallion. We'll sell it at the trading post. Same kind of thing. Okay, what's next? Bags. So that's a little bit about bags. Some bags are account bound, some you can resell. Those 18 slot bags you can resell, those 18 slot leather bags.
Enough said.
Um, let's let's go to crafting. Since we're talking about bags, now just craft a bag. I'll just sell it. But let's go craft a bag. Let's craft an 18 slot leather bag because those are one of the most popular selling bags. Speaking of making money, I'd have to do the math right now, but when I've done the math before, I would make a bunch of those bags and sell them 10, 20, 30, 50 all together,
Faster.
and it would add up to be a good little chunk of change. So you can do stuff you can craft to make money. All right, so let's go see. This guy here, I have leveled up Armor Smith to the highest level. Now that's expensive. You'll start at 0 and you won't see all this stuff that I have. It'll be all blank. And you go to this Discovery tab, and for one, you can just discover things like that. I don't know that recipe, so let's craft it. That's a minor rune of the crate. Now, I will about guarantee that that was a waste of money because minor rune of the crate is worth 20 copper, and I bet you the materials that I used for it were worth a lot more than that. Minor rune of the crate. So you don't just want to go blindly. It takes one of those. Look, 2 silver, two silver, 30 copper, and it took 2 piles of that. So I just spent 10 silver to discover something that's worth 20 copper. And I knew that that was going to happen, but it was just there, and it was kind of fun. So don't just blindly go in here and voila and double click and and get stuff discovered, because you'll end up wasting your money. Like I could do that, but I don't really know what it makes. We could look it up, but I don't care because I don't need that. But what I'm looking for are bags. Now the search function is really cool in these box. So typing in something, part of it is fast. So let's see. 18 slot mithril box. I that might be the cheapest to make right now. Mithril is pretty cheap. So in order to make one of those, by the way, when you are crafting, and you can buy this top level one and you can buy this lower level one, always buy that lower level one. You might double check the math to see if it's cheaper. For example, it takes 2 mithril to make 1 mithril ingot. 1 mithril ingot is 1 silver, 4 copper. But 2 mithril ore is 88 copper. Way cheaper to do your refining yourself. Okay, don't buy the top level stuff. Okay, and you'll notice also we need a greater rune of holding. Buy more at trading post. 245 or 195. Now don't buy them from the trading post. Buy them from this dude here. We need a greater rune of holding. So bags in particular takes a greater rune of holding. They're two gold from the merge. Now, yeah, you could probably put an order in actually for the greater rune of holding and save maybe a couple silver. But in general, it's kind of dumb to sell those on the trading post for the seller because they lose money. It's like, who would buy these and sell them on the trading post? So let's buy one of those. And boom, we'll go back to here. Now you'll see we have a number 1 there. That means we can craft 1. If I bought a bunch of those, that we could craft more. And then boom, craft it. So that's an example of crafting. Now, how you get started? Well, let me sell this bag first. Sell on trading post. Now, if I did my math, I'm sure I gained, a 1 or a profited a couple of silver or 10. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. Normally, I would do the math, and if it was profitable, I'd make 20 of them, and I'd have a little bit of profit. That's how you make money. So we're kind of covering a bunch of topics all at once. Okay, so if you want to get started in crafting, everybody always points to this site. It's a pretty good site. It's fairly old. I would not use the 400 to 500 guide. There are better ways to do it, way better than this. This is really expensive to go to 400 to 500. According to this, it's about 80 gold, and it might not be too far off. Well, it's right on with what they want you to do, but there are ways to do it for a lot cheaper. Don't use the normal guides because you'll sit there all day long crafting. Use the fast guides. Your cheapest one that you can do is typically usually cooking, so you can get to level hearts. I never understood what that meant, but for 3 gold you could get your cooking up to 400. So, and then you would buy all this stuff from the trading post or merchants. It tells you where to buy it. This one, these some things you buy with Karma. This is Karma 1, so by vendor actually. So all these are probably Karma. And then these you can buy from the trading post. So this is your inventory list, and when you're done, and then you go through and you discover, use that discovery tab, put the apple and that in there, and voila, you'll level up. Now, when you do craft, use your crafting boosters, okay? And you should have some from just having an account, because you get some right off the bat. And I have a bunch somewhere. But oh well. But use a crafting booster that will make your crafting go cheaper. Also, when you do craft, you will raise your level up. So don't craft when you get to level 80 maybe. Craft when you get to level 70, or if you get your first tune to level 80 and you want to level up a new person, maybe take that new person and craft it up to level 12. You can easily craft a new person, a new tune up to level 10, level 12 for pretty cheap, a couple of gold. So that is a way. And there's, like I said, whenever you have questions or worried about it, just look on the YouTube to search. Look, I already sold my bag. Well, I don't know. Let me see. Nope, I didn't sell my bag. Sell the other stuff, some other stuff. I got a lot of things for sale, including this. Now, this is one case where it probably will not sell for a long time or forever. 284. The price dropped like, well, it might sell. It might take a year for that one to sell. But when you get to that point, you'll know and you'll learn how long something might be on the trading post. I about guarantee that mithril box that I crafted will be sold by tomorrow. So that's a little bit about crafting. And you have to teach yourself to craft. I mean, you have to go up, when you go up to it, it'll say you're not a craft. Well, this is what it'll say. Please teach me to be an artificer. Now, you can only have 2 crafting abilities per character. So one thing that you'll want to make sure that you do, or you'll regret it, is you'll want to have 4 characters that you never delete. Okay, because what you'll probably do, you'll take those 4 characters and you'll get to crafting things all maxed out. And then you might, if you delete one of those characters, then you can't craft anymore. You'll have to re-level that crafting up, which could be an expensive feat. Now, one thing that you can do, and I have done that, and I actually like it quite a bit, you can buy two more things where you can craft 4 things with each person. Oh, where are you at? Maybe it's not on here right now. But when it's on here, special, maybe it's under special. Yeah, it's not on here right now, I guess. But you can buy 2 more crafting license so that you can craft 2. Now the watchwork mining pick, that's worth buying. You can buy 2 more licenses so that you can put 4 professions on each character, and then you only have to dedicate 2 people to crafting, which is what I've done. Although I've done some double crafting with characters in the beginning, which is why I'm saying that. So that's a little bit of basics on that. Let's see, let's go to achievement points. Okay, so when you look at your hero panel, you'll notice that when you go down to achievements, this is how many achievement points you have. And if you hover it over, then it kind of splits it up. Now, there used to be things called monthly achievement points, and they done away with those some time ago. So yours might always be 0 for monthly. I don't. And so if we look to all this list, there's a ton of things. And over here it tells you how many points you get for doing the task. Some of the stuff is real easy. Some of it is hard. Some of it you need multiple people. Some of it you can do yourself. Some of it gives them just a couple points. Some of them gives them 1 point. So what is the object of this? There's not too much of an object of it. It's just more of an incentive to make you to have something to do. If you are a completionist, you will love those. If you like to, generally when you look at people in the game, you can tell how much they've done in the game by looking at these achievement points. It's not necessarily a rank. It's not necessarily telling you how good of a person is with playing, but it does just tell you maybe how long they've been around in the game and how much stuff they did in here. Because doing this stuff doesn't necessarily make you a better player, doesn't make you know and understand your character or your profession, and all kinds of them. And YouTube has all kinds of videos on all of them basically. You can see there's a lot that I don't have done. There's a lot, handful that I do have done. So some people will go and play and they don't care. They won't even look at them. They could care less. Some people, they love to do them. I love to do them. And I go through phases. Sometimes I'll do a bunch. Sometimes I'll just don't care. And I still need to finish this dungeon track. Most people do that pretty quick, for example. And so those are what achievement points are. Now you do have what we call dailies. Up here it will list what you have, and you can also have a watch list. You notice it disappears. Watch this up here when I click on that. So if you got one that you want to keep an eye on, and you want to kind of put it up there, then you can kind of, oh yeah, and you can click on it and it takes you right to it. So one thing, like if you do get into achievement points and you really love them, then you start doing your dailies. And it's an easy 10 achievement points per day. And there's several ways to do it. There's quicker ways to do it. Like these are pretty easy. You just go view a vista in Ascalon. And if you play a PV match, you'll probably get those two. And if you win a PV match, you'll get, whatever profession that you have. Like this one, if you're an engineer or a thief and you win a match, boom. There's ways to kind of do this real fast, and there's ways to not do it fast. This is kind of a new thing, doing dailies for areas. These are 2 new areas, and there's dailies for that too. There's achievement points for their personal story. There's achievement points for the living story. All kinds of stuff in there. That's pretty much it for achievement points. That's what those are. And let's go back here. When you look at your friends list, you can see how many achievement points people have. And also you can call somebody's fib sometimes. Like if somebody's asking a noob question down here, but they have 10,000 achievement points, then they're probably pulling your leg. Okay. What else can we knock off? Making money, we did a little bit. I mean, we could talk 10 hours on making money. Rewards and goals. So other rewards and goals and what I was kind of talking about are, like if you open your wallet, hit the I, go to your wallet right here, and this is all the currencies that's in the game. So like let's take for example fractal relics. You get that currency by doing those fractals that we kind of talked about in that one video. And then you go to a vendor and you buy armor and unlock skins and you could buy bags, inventory bags with these relics. Same thing with pretty much all this stuff in here. These are geodes. That's from Dry Top. If you go there and spend hours there, you'll get enough geodes and you can buy recipes, you can buy minis, and not at Dry Top, but some places will have minis. This is called Unbound Magic. That's in the new areas. You do events and the new hearts, and you collect Unbound Magic, and then you can buy minis. You can buy mining picks. There's all kinds of rewards and gifts. So that's kind of what I mean by that. These are dungeon tokens, so the more you do dungeons, the more you'll have these tokens, and you take those tokens and you go buy armor and weapons with them. And some of the skins are, I mean, this is actual armor with armors and weapons. So while I'm thinking of it, so there are skins in the game, and there are actual armor and weapons. So the armor and weapons, if they include a new skin, then you do get a new skin. If it's just a skin, that's not a weapon. It's just a skin. It's the way an item looks or a weapon looks. So there is a difference. So that's a little bit about kind of the rewards and goals. Maybe that should be called something different. Okay. We're kind of covering that too. We covered that. Yeah, we did a little bit about that. That's pretty much, that's all we have to say about that. Leveling tips. Okay, there's just a few leveling tips. It's kind of cool. If you get into a guild, you can go to and get a guild bonus that will give you extra XP. I chose this one, but you can do just regular XP. You can go to the guild. I'm gonna open up my inventory. Make sure I showed you how to do that in the last video. Make sure you get some sort of food. Make sure you get some sort of utility that gives you extra experience. These fireworks will give you extra experience too. So if you want to do it up, these fireworks are a little bit more expensive, and you'll use a lot of them. These are kind of cheap, but those will give you extra experience. That one gives you 5%. So if you've done all this stacking and you can get a lot of experience, and also I'm sure you have some experience bonuses. These right here, XP. Use those. You'll get tomes of knowledge that I've talked about, and if you go to areas where mobs haven't been killed for a while, you'll get extra XP from that. If you get to where you're about level 70, 75, you can take a chance and go to a level 80 area and do events. Like if you're level 70 to 75, maybe come over here to Silver Waste and do all these events. Just be careful, just, you have to concentrate on staying alive, but you'll level up in no time. Use those boosters. You do your personal story, that levels you up fairly quick. I mean, that's pretty easy to level, really. Fractals will help you level. Doing dungeons actually will level you a lot. And yeah, that's it. Just do all those things. More on builds. Okay, so a lot of people do a lot of studying and do a lot of math to come up with a build, meaning a build is just as the accumulative gear that you have, what kind of stats you want to concentrate on: power, precision, ferocity. My warrior has a berserker build. If I go to my engineer, he has a Viper's build. So the different stats of weapons and armor are called certain things. They're called carrion, they're called berserkers, they're called vipers, and it really doesn't tell you when you hover over it. You have to go to the wiki to see what the name of it is. So if you've done a map chat, hey, what do you recommend for this? And somebody says carrion or vipers, then you're like, well, what the heck is that? So you go to the wiki and look it up. And this is a part of your build too. Your upgrade that you have on it, like my upgrade for that is the superior rune of the berserker. I have those upgrades on all 6 of my armor pieces. And on my weapon, I have a superior sigil of force. That's a part of your build too. So you have two main choices to make it simple. So when you look at gear, let's bring up the trading post and let's look up let's see, armor. So power, precision, condition damage. Condition damage are stuff like, let's look at that skill right there, bleeding. When you give a foe there, all right, I'm gonna hit that. I hit him with number 3, and it gave him bleeding. These are called conditions, the stuff up there. On that note, the number, like when you do something that's called crowd control, that means you put a net on him, or you knock him back, or he knocked me back. Here, this is better. There, that's called crowd control. See how I knocked him back? Now my net is supposed to, I missed. I had a wrong thing targeted. I'm going to switch to my flamethrower. Now watch me knock him back again. That's another crowd control. And I'm bleeding, see? I'm draining. Better heal. Let's switch to my grenades. So all the red stuff there, you have blindness, vulnerability, bleeding, vulnerability. So you can make a build that concentrates on those kinds of aspects, bleeding, vulnerability. And since see all that up there, those are bleeds, that's condition stuff. And you can kill things really fast, condition-wise. Generally speaking, if you're leveling and you want to kill enemies the fastest in regular content, generally just pure damage. Berserker, what I had on my warrior, will do you the best. If you find that you're dying or not staying alive very well, then yeah, change your gear up a little bit. Maybe do some map chat. People will help you with it some. So look, see all those bleeds? And also, when you go to your build tab, this stuff here, you trait for your build too. I'm not paying attention. So you match these, see, you match this stuff with your weapons and with your upgrades. You make them work in a coherent fashion, and that's what makes your build. And when you make them work in a good fashion, you can kick butt. But if you just guess and pick anything out of the blue when you want to do something pretty good, then it won't work as good. With that said, don't worry about it. If you don't have to spend hours and studying that and stuff. But when you get to the point where let me concentrate on this a little bit, and then you make a build, or you look up the other site that I told you called metabattle.com, and if for regular content, let's say my engineer, I'm actually running this build, and they got a little rating. And if we look at that, it'll tell you kind of what you should run, and that works good. And these are what you should choose for that. So that's a little bit about builds, and and you just play around with it. And your build, like I said, also includes your upgrades. When you want to go buy upgrade components, weapon sigils, minor. And you have three types. You have minor, major, and superior. Minor, it gives you one trait or one thing. Major gives you, I thought two, but so let's type in sup for superior. So these have 6 things. So if you have 6 pieces of armor, which you do, and I equip 2 of the superior rune of Berserker, 2 of another, and 2 of another, it's only going to activate number 1 and number 2 of each. That's you'll see that if you mix and match them, which that's totally possible. You can't do that. All right, let's see. That's the difference between the condition damage and physical damage. Condition damage works well with bigger bosses when you're doing raids, or when you're doing silver waves, when you're doing some of those bigger events. Some people run condition damage builds all the time. I think I'm gonna call it a quits on it. The next video, I'm gonna talk about my favorite YouTubers and what should you do when after you're 80. There's plenty of videos out there on what you should do and how to keep interested, because as long as you play and you switch it up now and then, you won't get tired of this game. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I will see you on the next video. Give a like, please. Give a dislike, whatever you think that is appropriate, and comment with questions. I am happy to answer questions. I am happy to answer questions in game. This is my in-game contact. I am happy to talk. Party up, play a little bit. Until next time, bye.